Welcome back to another episode of Make Mine Mayday. Of course, I am Zach Joyner, your friendly neighborhood host, and but I'm not the only host. The woman of the hour, as always,
is
Miss Kelly. Welcome, Kelly.
Hey,
we got some guests today, don't we?
We have. I'm so excited for our guests. Like, I can't even handle it. I tried my best to write up their questions, and I couldn't even do it because I was just like, I just want to hear them talk. So I'm excited.
So first up, he was a mod on the Spider-Girl message board. He's going by his username, Jeff, aka Jeffers.
Hello.
Hey, Instagram
I'm very excited about this trip. Hello.
That's her Instagram buddy.
Yes.
But then I became because of Jeff. I became Facebook friends with John. There's John.
Hey.
Hi.
But wait, we're not done yet.
We're not done yet.
One more.
The other mod from the Spider-Girl message board, Matt Kaser, aka Venom, on the message boards.
Yes.
Thank you. Comicboards.com/ Spider-Girl.
Spider-Girl, yeah.
You can still go there. It still exists now. Jeff and Matt are not the mods anymore, but
wait, I don't think there's any mod at this point. Like, I'm pretty sure it's one of those things where it's dead, but it's not actually dead.
But the fire of Spider-Girl remains alive.
Yes.
Exactly. All right. So this episode, we kind of talked about it. If you read the little blurb I wrote, this is more about the fandom, and we titled it the times that Spider-Girl was saved.
Yes.
And
a Friends episode.
Hat tip to Sarah, who is probably watching us.
Yes.
Right now.
Hat tip to Sarah.
So we already got comments, folks.
Yeah. It's just everyone saying hi.
What's up?
Ryan Reed, Matt Giovanni, and Ryan.
I know some of these people.
Yeah. Awesome.
So, you should have Ryan is someone you should have on at some point.
Yes.
Listen,
honestly,
Ryan,
why is Ryan not on here? Can we quickly get Ryan to jump on?
Look, if Ryan's he's got a podcast set up, so I know he can jump in the basement and come hang out. So I will send them. It's still there, but not the 1999 through 2008 setting.
No. But Ryan, are you able?
If you're available,
want to jump on, man?
Shoot me a PM on Facebook. I'll send you the link, and we can get you on. So we'll do this. We'll do to quote Bill O'Reilly infamously. We'll do it live. We are live and in color, and so this. Okay,
The more the merrier.
When I interview anybody, when I interviewed Tom and Ron back in the day, I had them go through their superhero origin stories. He can't. He's in my car at a stop at the moment. So please don't hurt yourself or wreck yourself.
Don't do that.
or he would. Pay attention to the road, Ryan Reed.
Yes.
But so, nevertheless, I'm gonna have. We'll start with Jeff since he's and we'll go to Jeff, Matt, and then John. You can kind of to give us your superhero origin stories. How did you get into comics? How did you get into Spider-Girl specifically?
Yeah.
How did I get into comics? I always loved Spider-Man because of the old cartoon, Spider-Man.
The 60s show.
I loved that when I was a kid. Yes. And I remember writing, and I had the costume one year at Spider-Man costume with the old Ben Cooper, and it's bizarre. You can see pictures of it, but the Spider-Man costume did not look like Spider-Man's costume. It was yellow and a big tarantula on the front. So I think they just used someone else. They used an old costume and just gave you a Spider-Man mask. That was my guess.
Brad Douglas.
But the mask was accurate.
Yeah,
but I remember riding down the block with a big wheel.
That.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm stepping all over it. Yeah, he
I
bought that.
Riding down the street, riding down the sidewalk. Riding down the street on my big wheel with my Spider-Man mask, thinking I was Spider-Man. I didn't really start buying the comics myself until the store down the street around the corner started selling comic books, and this was right before Star Wars came out, because I started buying Spider-Man and Star Wars comics at the same time, and so 77. First issue I bought was a Kingpin story.
Nice.
God, who's the Ross Andrew? So Ross Andrew was my first Spider-Man artist.
Hi, Frogo.
And then I would go back and forth. But I kind of got really back into comics in the 90s, in the 80s when I was in college. And there was a newsstand in downtown Milwaukee that had all the comics, and I would buy my comics every week. Spider-Girl, I bought What If 105 when it was first out. I just, I saw that, and let's hand it to Ron. That was a fantastic cover. I go, well, this looks interesting. Spider-Man's daughter. Oh, okay, I'll check it out. And it was great. I loved it. Wanted to see more, and thankfully there was more. And that was, so I was there at the beginning with Spider-Girl. I got What If 105 when it was on the racks, and I started buying the comics as soon as they were coming out. I don't know if you want me to start when I got involved in the message board or pick that up later.
No, go into that.
Go
totally.
into that. Yeah, that's...
Okay, because I don't remember. Because Matt and I were just, we were chatting earlier today, and he's saying, maybe you can jog my memory. I don't know. I remember because I was involved I was on the Spider-Man message board a lot. Mm-hmm. And I went to a comic convention in Chicago, and Tom DeFalco was there. And so Spider-Girl was out. I don't think I was the mod. Tom was there, and I went over and I started talking to Tom, and Dave Galanter was there at the same time. That's how I met Dave, who was, one of the honchos of the message boards. And we started talking with Tom for a while. It was nice long talk. I told Tom my Stan Lee story, and he found that amusing. And if you want my Stan Lee story, I'll tell you that later.
Fantastic. We'll do that.
We're here for it.
Now.
Yeah, we're here for it.
Okay. So, you want the Stan Lee story now, or you want me to go on?
Yeah, go. Do it.
Actually, I was gonna let. I was gonna kind of go through and just let Matt kind of tell his story. And go.
Yeah. In fairness, I'm sitting here going, yes, please tell me everything.
Everything.
Let's have fun. And Zach's trying to actually keep this a very even episode, so I apologize.
You're good. So
okay. Well, the convention is important. What happened later in the convention is important.
Okay.
So let me.
Yeah, I'll let you finish that.
So we're talking about, and Dave said, "Oh, some people from the Spider-Girl message board, we're going to be meeting. When the convention closes down for the night, we're going to be at the local. I think it was like an Applebee's or TGI Fridays or something like that." Okay, yeah, I'll meet you there. And we're walking around, and so I'm walking around. The convention's closing. I hear all the pros talking about, "Hey, what are you doing tonight?" I'm hearing, they're making plans with each other, and they're going off to their cool places and everything. And so, and then I get to the TGA Fridays, or find the table, and Tom DeFalco is at the table with all the Spider-Man fans. And so I sat down.
Fridays?
Huh? What's that?
As someone in college who worked at Tuesdays and a TGA Fridays, my brain is just
Tuesday,
breaking at that. Okay.
It could have been an Applebee's. It was one of those places, but so I walked in there and I was totally surprised to see that Tom DeFalco was there with everyone from the Spider-Man message board. And so I sat down and checked, we're talking with Tom and talking with Spider-Girl, talking about everything. And that was basically, I was so impressed that Tom DeFalco was there for the fans that was my loyalty to Tom. That was why I was determined to fight for his comic. So
that's awesome. Listen. As somebody that has interviewed Tom a couple of different times, Tom DeFalco is one of the most gracious human beings in the comic industry, and he understands. He comes from that generation of what Stan tried to form, and I think he tried to keep that torch alive. And you can tell that he is just so humble about, and so honored that people just have this attachment to these characters. And the passion that you just expressed is why all 5 of us are sitting here tonight.
Yeah.
And so, Matt, I'm going to let you give your superhero origin story.
Yes.
And kind of talk about how you got into Spider-Girl, and then we'll go to John.
Well, I originally got involved with comic boards. I think I was still in high school. It was maybe like 96 or 97. And I actually met Dave Glanter, and it was kind of funny because he only lived a few towns away from me. So I can't remember if I was a mod yet or not. But long story short, I ended up moderating the Spider-Man message board for quite a few years. And one thing that I think was really cool about it was how involved the creators were. And that was just like, even kind of one of the things I think birthed Spider-Girl was the fact that the creators were involved as far as the boards. But as far as fandom, Spider-Man, I actually have my baby's first yearbook, and it says that I was afraid of Spider-Man. That was one of the things on the list. As someone who would later go by Venom for many, many years, I found. I think my first issue was it was always tied into Venom, and it's a weird way because I was like, at the time anyway, I was more of a Venom fan than a Spider-Man fan because those were the first issues that I read. I was about 7 or 8 years old, and leading into Spider-Girl, I guess we'll get to that. I think it was issue 5. Was Venom, the Venom symbiote. And I think that was the first one that I grabbed. And my immediate reaction was, I don't get this. Like, what is this? And I have to admit, I didn't pick it up. But what happened was I was a big Ben Reilly and Kane fan. And when Kane showed up, I think in issue 14, my memory is terrible, but I think it was 14.
Yeah, it was 14 or 15.
And of course, I went back and I went back and I got all the old issues, and that still remains, I think, the only series that I have the entire run. And but getting into the Spider-Girl board, that was interesting. I might have a little story to tell about the background of that a little bit later. But I was happy to be involved, happy to be remembered. It's strange, but I'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely, John. Kind of give us your origin stories, and then we'll circle back to Matt.
Yes.
And Jeff.
Okay, my origin story with comic books and my life background story is all mixed up in between. So, pardon me.
No, you're good.
Okay, cool. Well, about 50 years ago, you might remember a thing called the Vietnam War. Well, I was a product of it, and when my parents brought me over here to America, I was 3 years old, and I had issues with the language, with reading, and a friend of mine introduced me to comic books, and this helped me to learn to read, and it was great. It was a great medium. You saw, you interacted. It was exciting. It was more than just this, whatever it was that they were teaching in school. It was more interesting. Spider-Man was more interesting. Anyway, I read it solidly all the way through high school. I got to the Clone Saga, and unfortunately, this is something of a sore point. It's a little controversial, but when it got to the point in the Clone Saga where it said that Peter Parker was the clone and Ben Reilly was the real Spider-Man,
I'm
gonna hide.
I had an absolute knee-jerk reaction. I said, screw this. Pardon my French. Screw this.
Oh, you're fine.
You've been lying to me for decades. I'm done with comic books, and I literally put it down. I was
fair.
Okay, and I went into the military, and I was active duty from, I think, the late 80s to the mid-90s. I got into college, and one day when I was in college, I turned on TV set, and I saw this cartoon, and it was not Spider-Man. It was the Transformers. Sorry, but this leads into Spider-Man.
Okay.
I saw this cartoon. It was called Beast Wars. I got interested in it, and I got into collecting the toys and such like that. I started going to the conventions, and I was a hardcore, diehard Transformers fan. And one day I was at a convention. I went to a stall, and lo and behold, they were selling comic books. I had time to kill. I went through the stall, and I picked up this issue called Spider Girl. Excuse me? What's this?
What
I
issue
started
was
reading.
it?
I forget. I think it was the one where Ken was holding her by the throat or something.
Okay.
Well,
That
hey,
one.
looky there.
There you go. All right.
I have that Foxer Spider Girl.
Yeah, I read I read the introduction. I was like, yeah, I'm on board for this. The real Spider-Man. Who is the real Spider-Man? I don't know. I'm going to read this. And I was studying creative writing at the time, and I really got into the character. And I liked how Tom Falco was so, I don't know, as you said, he's a class act. Even though at this point in my life, I never paid attention to creators' names. I just picked up a comic book. And I did not care who the writer was, who the artist was. I just knew I was enjoying this experience right there and right then. But this is the internet age, and I started learning about, the people behind there, and the people, who are bringing this to life. And there was a message board. Oh my goodness, I was still on dial-up at this time, by the way, so it was really slow. And I just got on board. I discovered the message board through Google, and I just let my inner nerd flow out of me that I just kept pent up in with me for many, many years. And that's how I got into Spider-Man, I should say.
Well, it's in what you said about not paying attention to writers and artists. Is there's a point in high school where I stopped with the first appearance of Hydro Man. I was like disgusted with it because he's like coming out of drains trying to find Spider-Man and popping up in people's showers. And I'm thinking, this is like something from Spidey Super Stories. I'm done with Spider-Man. And a couple of years later, it was actually the black costume that got me more curious about reading Spider-Man again. I started reading Spider-Man again. Is Ron on? And so later on, I'm talking to Tom at a convention, Tom DeFalco, and I started telling him the issues of comic Spider-Man that got me back into it. He's like, oh yeah, that was mine. That was mine.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I just want to state that I was on a. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
You're good. Oh. Yeah. You're fine.
Yeah, we got a little bit of a delay. So for those that are listening to us on the audio version of this, we're fighting some delays.
Yeah.
But,
sorry, guys.
My
all I was gonna state was. Okay. Go. All right. So anyway, what I was gonna state was I was on another YouTube show on Friday, and they had asked me to pick 3 comic books to talk about, and so I randomly picked the first 2 comics I ever picked up that I could remember as a kid, and both of them are basically very much Tom Falco and Ron Friends centric, because they apparently were all related around when Mary Jane had announced she knew Peter was Spider-Man.
That was one of the issues that got me back.
Yeah.
And it was during this interview I realized, oh, you guys basically entirely formed my Spider-Man life. So thanks, guys, because I was 8 when I found Spider-Man. So just if you guys need to feel old.
Yeah.
I was 8.
I was,
and
I'm not too much.
when I was in college. So you're not too much older than me, okay?
I'm
that
not.
bad.
No, I'm 30. She's 30.
I'm not
I'm 30.
that
I'll
young.
be 33 at the end of the year. No, I was trying to pull out because I have. I'm a huge Clone Saga fan, and that's what ultimately started this website, this network, everything. So Spider-Girl for me, my dad still gets irate, irrationally upset about the fact that they never resolved the Baby May storyline. Because when I finally had to break the news, I was like, they never intended on doing it. And he's like, so why did they introduce it in the first place? And I was like, editorial influence. It's all Bill James's fault. or not Bill Jamis, Bob Harris's fault. Don't want to speak ill of Bill. There's other things we can speak ill of Bill about, but you know.
Can I at least state that thanks to at least Peter being a part of the investigation unit, that I do think sometimes my dad was able to kind of take a step back and always go like, would this be good for my daughter to see? Because my dad is retired GBI, which is Georgia Bureau of Investigation, State Investigation, and a lot of things that like wound up kind of making national news the last few years in Brunswick, Georgia. My dad was one of the first people to call out for our state because it was inappropriate, and I do think a part of that did come from the comics, just because he was like, wait, I should at least like actually be, you know, a good cop for this. So
yeah, definitely. So
I do want to say that anyway.
We're gonna go. I'm gonna take a trip back in the Wayback Machine.
Yes.
We got SaveSpiderGirl.com. This was the brainchild of these three guys and so many other people that were on the message board. This was
and others.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm shocked. It's like this didn't work that well this morning.
Well, I went back and I tried to find a good capture. I got the Reddit alerts on my computer if you're watching this on YouTube. But so this was the website that everybody linked back in the day. SaveSpiderGirl.com. This campaign started. You said around March for Death, which is
issue 61. I just looked it up.
Yeah.
60. So issue 60 was the first all right, 60's the drop dead date. We're not bringing it back. 61 is is the infamous issue that.
In fairness, it is one of my favorite storylines ever. But yeah, it's in the 60s.
Yeah,
so.
the March for and Tom DeFalco has told this story several times, but he got a phone call. It was April Fool's Day. They said we need a plot, and Brevoort had to call him at 7 o'clock in the evening and said, "No, Tom, the series is not canceled. We need a plot tomorrow."
Honestly, they should have said something the day before. That sounds like that's a Marvel problem and not a Tom problem.
Yeah, that was definitely he had turned in the script. He had said his goodbyes. Holler at me if you need anything. He had went and got him a pizza and went back to Pittsburgh and was thinking, everything's fine.
Also some good wine. I hope.
Yeah. He had to get him a good New York style pizza with some wine, and he was just ready to kick back and write his murder mysteries and be done. And then the news comes out, lo and behold, to you guys, that Spider-Girl is not in fact canceled. And so the Save Spider-Girl campaign, that was the first big win you guys had. And then right around issue 70, what was it, 75, I think, was supposed to be the last
75. Mm-hmm.
And then the campaign started, and then it, later on,
one of these issues right there.
Anyway, but 75 pops, comes out, and it's not the last issue. Now, for me, I'll say this: I started reading with the early run, and then I jumped in at 65 and picked it up from 65 on, all the way through at the end. So for me, I was kind of a late comer but it was really the message board that you guys, that community you fostered was one of the biggest reasons that I was like, you know what, I'm going to help save Spider-Girl, because I love Tom DeFalco. My first issue was a Tom DeFalco issue of comics, period.
I just want to thank you guys for that, because I was a little too young. I started at 8 years old in 1998, collecting from issue 3 onward. And I was very religious about picking it up.
That's one of mine.
So my thing is even though like I did know you guys, we talked about this earlier, how I was a little scared of being very active as young as I was on the group page, but I was very active in collecting and trying my best to help you guys where I could, aka crudely drawing things at my mother's beeper office and putting them in store windows. So
Oh yeah.
that's my main contribution. You're welcome. You're welcome for my 0 goose egg contribution to that. But and anyway, I do want to thank you guys, because without you and without everything you guys did, it wouldn't have gone as long as it did, because it literally lasted from me being 8 years old, like just turned 8 years old in September of 1998, to lasting until Spider-Girl The End, which I want to say came out August 2010. So it was right into my sophomore year of college. And that's a long time to have a character in your life.
Absolutely. So just to kind of go back and describe some of the stuff I'm putting up on the screen while you were talking. This is the Hall of Honor for the retailers that actually put these things and wrote letters and the letters that you guys got sent in, and all these different comic shops. I'm hoping. I mean, Midtown Comics and Times Square.
Yeah.
They put the flyer out. That's pretty darn cool.
Yeah.
That's a win, considering how many professionals were going to that place too.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, you guys did the.
We were
at least back
strategic
then
about targeting.
Yeah. Well, back then you guys basically did the impossible. You
fine,
really did.
So talk about, okay, let's kind of get into the origins of that. You guys obviously did the Save Spider-Girl campaign. Jeff, you've talked about that. You had that resolve. All right, we're going to save this title. When you guys just did y'all start emailing each other back and forth? How did that kind of start? If you guys remember.
We did. We did, especially when we. I do remember a lot of the emails going around when we did the previews ad.
Yeah, I was part of those. Those were fast and furious. I remember logging on and going, there's 30 emails.
Yeah. Because I think in the beginning it was just a letter writing campaign mostly, the very first time.
Mm-hmm.
And we had generated, so it wasn't just the three of us. There were plenty of people writing letters, and I think Tom told us. I think we were told that up until that point, no comic had been saved by a letter writing campaign, and we were the first to do that. And then after that, it was like start buying extra issues, because I bought like 5 issues a month or something like that. To bump up sales, and then hand out the extra issues to people you think might like Spider-Girl. I mean, I remember I started calling myself Johnny Appleseed of Spider-Girl.
Hey,
my niece's soccer team. They're going on a bus trip or something. So I go to a comic book shop, because I bought every back issue of Spider-Girl they had, gave them to her, and to your friends so you can read on the bus. So
yeah, no. Okay. So when they did the $1 issue, when I was creating my costume, I spent about $85 buying all of that $1 reprint, and that's all I did the entire weekend was pass out that comic.
Just hand it out.
And I have multiple letters. No,
Yep.
I have multiple letters. There was a 5-year-old who was with his parents. His parents actually were like Top Gun cosplayers at Dragon Con, and he wanted to dress up as Spidey with this group of Top Gun cosplayers. And I saw him and I like pointed at him and my Spider-Girl, and he pointed at me, and I handed him the comic, and like, you know, we were just doing this dumb stuff, but I was trying to like slowly read it to him. He apparently that made his entire weekend, and his parents gave me a message of going, you do not understand how much the comic you gave him meant to him, because he kept telling us, he's like, I got this as Spidey. I didn't get this as me. I got this as Spider-Man. I am Spider-Man. And this is mine. And it was like, holy crap. But like it was special to him. And like I have other little stories about that entire weekend of just passing out that comic. So like you talking about Johnny Appleseed of that comic.
Mhm.
It's weird to know the ripple effect of it, I guess.
Absolutely.
I never
Like-
dressed up as Spider-Man while distributing their comics. I don't think it would have worked as well.
Nah, it totally would have been fine. It would have been great.
Okay.
You should have done it.
Okay.
So John.
Well, the costumes they had at the time didn't really look like Spider-Girl, as you know.
That's true.
John, I was going to jump to you because obviously that
Yeah.
previews ad was like the big like apex of the Save Spider-Girl campaign. Whose idea was it? Was it yours? Was it Jeff's? Was it Matt's? Whose was it? Was it
Okay,
yours?
okay. I think my
I don't
memory
know
is
whose
maybe a little bit
idea.
better than Jeffers.
Okay.
Actually, I think they
probably
originally tried
is.
to cancel. I think they originally tried to cancel the book around 12. I was not involved with that campaign.
Okay.
It was the second time they tried to cancel it. I jumped on board. Now, I wasn't really a part of the emails at the time, but as soon as I had just gotten on board with Spider-Girl, it got canceled. I got fired up, and that's when I started getting into this. And the ad in question, oh my goodness, I actually have a copy of that. A lot of us got together, more than me, Jeffers and Venom over there. Excuse me, Matt. It was a lot of us. Matt Adler, I believe, was involved. Someone
Yeah.
came up with the idea.
Yeah.
Hey, we got to get this out to more people. We need an ad. And I was, as you mentioned before, Zach, before the show, I did a lot of the banners and also did a lot of the posters. So I raised my hand and said, "Hey, let me do this. I can create this ad." And I think Jeffers and Matt or someone else who was more business savvy started saying, "Okay, we got to get permission from Marvel because we're using their intellectual property. Then we got to contact these people and pay them the money." And I was like, "Okay, great."
Thanks for reminding me. I have not done a single thing for that for my own logo.
Fine.
So
It's fair use.
we got all together. I sent.
Did we get permission?
It's all good. It's fine.
Okay. Anyway, I was all fired up. My mindset back then was very hyper. There was no such thing as an obstacle to me. There was only speed bumps. You give me an obstacle, I'm going to blow through it. I'm going to go over it. I'm going to go under it. But I will not stop. Okay? So
Hey,
I contacted
Please,
Marvel.
Zach.
Yeah, it's
I contacted Marvel. I said, "Hey, okay, we want to do this free service for you. How will you please let us
Yes.
do it?" And dude said, "Well, sure, why not? Okay, you got our permission." So I grabbed this and said, "Okay, guys, we got to get this much money for this publisher. Give us some. Okay, let's collect some money." And everybody started paying in like $40 here, $20 here. I think the whole price was like $800 or something. Well, the amount that we
Yeah, that
collected
sounds
was like
about
something like $200.
Jeez.
I said, "Screw this. We're doing this. I will put for the other $400. We're going to make this happen. No obstacles." And
Oh my gosh.
I sent my ad, sent them the money. They said, "Great." And then next month, boom, in this previews catalog was our full page ad of Spider-Girl. I wish I could dig it out. It's
Shit.
somewhere.
I
full
think
page.
I have it.
Oh,
I
no.
have it somewhere. I just don't
Full
know
page,
where in my
full color.
giant stack
will
of
say-
comics. But
I will
holy
say
crap.
this. I
Yeah.
did
Well,
that was because of Save Spider-Girl. That was the first time I established a PayPal account and sent you guys $10.
Woohoo!
So I distinctly remember going, okay, I'm like a teenager. I'm working at a golf course making $5.75 an hour.
You know what? At least you were working on a golf course. I distinctly remember this in the fact of that I wasn't like legally allowed to work. So
So
I'm sorry I couldn't give you money. I tried.
Yes.
All good.
Like I say, that era of just Spider-Man fandom, it was so different. But no, I remember me
Actually,
and my buddy,
I would say it's not different. It's just there was a lot more action versus right now it's more of a reaction to older things.
Absolutely. So I was trying to, because we would put the Save Spider-Girl logo that John made on our websites, and I was, because I know it's on Brad. It was on Brad's site.
It was on the crawl space.
So I'm actually on the Wayback Machine right now. I'll show you what I'm doing.
Yeah. I'm
actually trying to see, because he had it in one of the corners of his website. This is
old time ago. Old Spider-Man crawl space. To Brad, if he is watching, this is done out of love. I swear to God. But
the testimonials you guys were able to find of other people that were writing this online. I remember that Mike Ringo post, and it kind of makes me sad when I see it now, because it wasn't too long after this that he ended up passing away. But it's just such a good. It was such a really good idea for you guys to have one place that you could just say, okay, here's the link, to find out more about this Spider-Girl character. And, you guys just absolutely, I felt like, just did such a great service to the character. And thank you for your efforts, because honestly, for people like me, if you guys hadn't have done the save at 60, I wouldn't have read Spider-Girl. I wouldn't be doing this podcast right now.
Well, honestly, even just saving it at 60, saving it for the kids that ultimately did not know, because in fairness, in 2006, I think I had just started high school. But in fairness, we weren't necessarily tech savvy, most of us. I think we can all say that. And two, it would have stopped a character at a very formidable time of my life. It also, too, would have stopped a story that I think has resonated with, at this point, at least 2 other generations.
Mm-hmm.
With stories that needed to be told. Because I know I see kids that are just now starting college that are really into Spider-Girl, either finding it through themselves through Marvel Unlimited or finding it through a family member. I know, I've shown the series to my own 5-year-old nephew, and Zach has shown it to his 5-year-old daughter, and they are obsessed with it. For some strange reason, they love the series, and the fact that they are able to have, a 15-year time of a consistent thread of Spider-Girl has a large part to do with the fandom and with this message board and with you guys and what you guys did to make this happen.
Yeah, Matt, kind of, John and Jeff have talked a lot, but you've been kind of quiet, so I wanted to kind of get more stuff out from you and kind of give me your, when all this was happening, your reaction to everything. Because how wild was it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it's kind of, it makes for a good segue, and if you don't mind me going on a small tangent,
sure,
it'll come back.
I
think I appreciate you giving us the credit you do. There were very many people involved with these campaigns. But I think, too, that don't get enough credit, honestly, with the involvement of the board and everything else, honestly, was Tom DeFalco, Ron Friends, and later on some of the editors that worked on the book, I think their involvement in the board is what helped foster that rabid fan base, because they're actively engaging with the audience naturally makes you want to fight for this book, this thing that you love. The tangent is that it also, if my memory serves me correctly, was the impetus for the board existing in the first place. Because, like I said, prior to the Spider-Girl board existing, I worked as a moderator on the Spider-Man message board before it even spread to these other boards and the TV boards and things that they did. And when they did expand, I remember there was a discussion when, and I don't think I was not involved with the board right away. I came later. But there was actually a discussion kind of behind closed doors with management of, is it really necessary to have a Spider-Girl board? Because according to the rules of comic boards, Spider-Girl was fully on topic on the Spider-Man message board. So the question was always, do we really need this? And I think really, again, this is, 20 some odd years ago, but I want to say that it kind of came down was, if you can get Tom, and it might have been Pat at that time, or Ron, if you can get them involved at the board and you can get them engaged, then we'll go ahead and do the separate board, because it really was kind of a point of contention with the Origins. So I want to just take a second to thank Tom and Ron really for their involvement, because as much as we and many other fans were involved, I don't think the board would have existed if they weren't as engaged with the fan base as they were.
Absolutely,
I agree with that. Yeah,
completely agree with that. That's something that's often missed.
And unlike what was kind of going on the Spider-Man message board with creators there, Tom was friendly with us.
Yes. I had some good experiences with creators on the Spider-Man board, I have to say. Paul Jenkins was always really cool. That came later, obviously. But he was always really cool.
Paul Jenkins. I love Paul Jenkins.
Another Atlanta.
There were a few. There were
another
a few.
Atlanta person.
And I had
Paul. Sorry, I was just gonna say. I at least know of Paul out of my friend group, and he is apparently a very friendly man, very good man.
I had a nice long talk with Paul Jenkins at Comic-Con about, 8 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Paul wrote one of my favorite issues of all time, and I remember writing to him on the Spider-Man message board. I wrote, my sister had cerebral palsy, and he wrote an issue with a kid with cerebral palsy, and it was just very, very, hit very close to home. And I remember writing to him, and he was just so thankful, because apparently there was somebody that was so upset with one phrase he used in the issue that they sent out a bunch of hate mail, and so that.
All right, so I'm raising my hand because in college I actually met my first cerebral palsy person in my life. I know I was sheltered, but I never treated them differently, to the point that, if they said something out of line, I acted right with them, to the point that maybe it would have been slightly inappropriate, but we were having fun and we were treating each other like normal people. He, at one point, we were talking about Spider-Man, this is the story Zach knows of. I made somebody cry because they tried to tell me that they knew all about the Clone Saga, but they were only talking about the animated series. Anyway, so my friend with cerebral palsy was actually defending me knowing Spider-Man by talking about this issue. And if Tom is listening, I just want to say, Jordan defended that issue. wholeheartedly because he felt like he had, for the first time in his life, he had been seen. He was like, the only other time I felt seen as just a normal person was when you pushed me across the couch, which probably shouldn't have been a good thing, but he was inappropriate and I pushed him because that's what 18-year-old Kelly did. And he was just like, no, it's fine because you treated me like a normal person, which is true. I would have pushed anybody over that damn couch in the student center if they had talked to me like that. So didn't matter. But yeah, so
No,
I wanted to throw that out there because that is actually a large part of Spider-Man, at least for me. Is that
Zach, if I can go back and
sure,
I'll answer your question a little bit because I had to go on the tangent, but to circle back as far as the times being crazy, working on the Spider-Man message board, I ended up having kind of an interesting relationship with some of the creators because we would email off the board. And one of the people that I would email was actually Joe Quesada back in the day. And it was kind of funny because when some of these Spider-Girl things were happening, one of my more distinct memories is I would occasionally talk with him in email. I'd be like, man, what's going on? Like, like, what do we need to do? And he would usually say, well, it's just sales, man. We need to get sales up. We need to do this. We need to do that. And I found even today, looking back at some of my old posts, it was like, okay, I talked to Joe and, like, this is kind of what, what we're after. But I don't consider myself a leader at all. Jeff and Jarkor I give a lot of credit to. But there was one thing I remember. Well, I remember discussing with Quesada about there was one campaign that it was a price increase. And if I'm not mistaken, and it could be, I almost remember, I want to say that I approached him with that in email saying like, dude, like, what if we just increase the cost a little bit? Like, will that help? And that was, I guess it was kind of weird because I was a guy in my early 20s having like a one-on-one with the, at the time, editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics. And it's strange because I don't give myself a ton of credit, but looking back, it is kind of odd. Like, I don't think a lot of folks were in that position, and Comic Boards allowed me to do that. And being involved with the boards and getting to know Tom and Ron and the involvement. My cat is crying. Sorry.
No.
I
love cats, so yes.
Love that they put in. The amount of love that they put into the not just the book but the fan base. I remember a lot of crazy times, but what I really remember was I remember a lot of good times. The board really was a family in a lot of ways, more so than I probably had on any other internet platform since.
Okay, can you show your cat and introduce your cat?
Yeah, because
the cat clearly has answered. Like,
he's a diva. So
no, I'm here for this. Like,
well, while Matt,
people's pets are like great. Okay, like, let's be fair here. That is amazing internet content.
We are equal opportunity pet people.
Yeah.
Jeff's cat was like on his back. No, but one of the things I did want to say.
Yeah, that's why this is here. Yeah, but he's upstairs now.
I will say this.
Depending how long this goes, and it comes out.
Oh, very sweet.
he looks. So I had a childhood cat named Leo that looked just like him. Oh my god.
So I wanted to jump back. I wanted to say this about John. It felt like Jeff and Matt, they're the stoic moderators. I always felt like, oh, you're a moderator, so you're the important guy. And then there's John, who's like, who's like got half of his face painted like Braveheart, going into the breach.
Okay, but also too, John had a character.
Yeah, he did have a
in
character
that comic.
He did.
Let's talk about that. How did you feel about that character? How did you feel about like Chris? Like,
let me show.
As
We see
someone who, you know, read that character as a character. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It was
He's
after
got
one of the
props.
campaigns. Yeah.
My man.
Oh my goodness, I have so many albums of original artwork.
Oh my
Tom and
god.
Ron, if you're looking, this is where your artwork went. Anyway,
You know, I put mine on my wall.
I got a few pages.
I'm throwing this out
I've got-
there.
I've got too much art. Hurricane. I live in Florida. Hurricanes happen. Got to protect the artwork. Okay.
But when the house is on
That's
fire,
fair.
the first thing he's running into to get is all the artwork.
Exactly. No, that's
Oh my
fair.
goodness.
That's totally fair.
Getting back to Chris Jarker. Okay, you kept calling me John. Just to let everybody else out there know, my full name is John Arthur Kerner.
Okay.
Jarkoer is an abridgment of all that. So
Gotcha.
not even, yeah, like Jeffers. But not even Tom DeFalco knew how to pronounce the word. He kept on saying Jarkoer. Kerner is a German
That's
name.
what I did.
The O and the E
We
get
all
squished
did.
together to make the U sound, okay? Jarker.
Nine. I'm sorry.
Nate, stop.
Anyway, Tom told me about a month before the issue came out, hey, we're gonna do something good for you. Well, no, we're gonna give you a surprise. At this time,
I was gonna say,
we
I
had
don't
seen
know
this-
if that's good. Like,
At this time, we had seen this character who looked suspiciously like Ron Friends, and Mayday kept on calling him Chris. Then it happened on this one issue. I remember the cover distinctly. It had Spider-Girl ripping open her her clothes like Superman, Spider costume underneath, American flag in the back. Yeah, oh my God, that's the issue. Thank
after
you.
After
Thank
you
you.
tell your story, I will tell you how I got that poster.
I got the original artwork for that poster anyway. Anyway, so the next month, boom, Mayday announces the full name of this character. His name is Chris Jarker. I'm like, okay, Jarker is probably a really common name up north or something. That's gonna be my story. My Google search says no, there are no Jarkers in the world, except for me.
Sorry.
So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna play Stony Face. I'll be cool. Not gonna let on this is anything about me. So then all of a sudden, Tom had Chris. By the way, Chris was a editor at Marvel that was supporting Spider-Girl. So of course, that was a tribute to that unknown editor. And Chris had of course the looks of Ron Friends, and his last name was my name. And then all of a sudden, Tom had this character starting to date Mayday. I was like, oh my God! Okay, I'm just gonna play it cool. Don't let us get. Okay, I'm cool. And we're rolling along, and then Tom says, "Hey, you know something? Rough is going to come up pretty soon for the character."
Sorry, man. I'm so
Like,
sorry.
no, that's cool. I can handle it. The next issue, Mayday and Chris are having a nice dinner date. I'm thinking, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, some supervillain crashes through the window. Chris has a panic attack. He hides underneath the table. It's like, okay, Tom, we got to talk. If I was there, I started putting myself into the comic. If this was me, I would have grabbed the chair and I would have clobbered the guy. Come on, Tom, help a bro out. Anyway, oh, I got blocked by Tom of all people.
Oh no!
Oh my God.
Man,
But no, it was cool.
That's great. That's awesome.
It was cool.
Hey, I was gonna ask a
I
question
think
about that.
Ron-
So thanks for answering that, man.
So I just want to point out the issue before was this one. Fun fact: the first letter on the letters
Are
page.
you about
I made a
to? Oh my
t-shirt
God!
of
You're
that.
about to talk about your own damn letters.
No.
No.
First letter on the letters page is John.
Ah.
Okay, but then the next to last letter was me. So
okay, there we
we've
go.
shared a space before. It was on the letters page. I was like, I knew, because I thought, because I kept thinking that my letter was in that issue 73 is the issue number for those that want to look it up. If you're listening to us on the audio
side,
version,
yeah.
then you'll have to watch the YouTube video because it's visual aids are
We really
great.
do, yeah. Fun fact about my poster, which I'm trying to think of the issue that it is, and I can't remember. It is before 91, which is the one John is talking about, where his character Chris is a scared cat.
Yeah.
In fairness, you know what? If the Goblin Queen busted through a window with the Venom symbionite, I too would be a little afraid. Don't know if I would act that way, but in fairness, my mom is a nurse, my dad is a cop. I probably would be that idiot that ran towards danger. So most people are smarter than me. But in any case, the issue at hand, I actually had a OkCupid date from 5 years ago. Buy me that as my birthday present, even though our dates didn't work out. So for my 24th birthday, I had this sitting at my apartment with a letter from Mayday. But it was very much written by someone who didn't know the character. But they at least tried, I guess.
That's a pretty good attempt, though.
It was cute. That's why
Yeah,
it was like I can't just like destroy this, because that was a lot of money and it was very cute. So it's actually come with me everywhere that I've moved since 2014.
So this is the issue in question. It was issue 82.
Yes. Okay. 82.
Yeah. So that's where there's Mayday shoving Chris out of harm's way.
Look, she's trying to be good. Okay, like
Yes.
I never once blamed the character for what. I never blamed him for being scared. I did kind of judge him for saying he was a hero when he wasn't. Do you have a story about that, John? Do you know about that before that got written, or
the face palm?
Salt on the wound, you know.
I'm sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. They had to make way for other people.
Yeah.
It's all good.
I always thought that was one of the coolest things
I think
as a reader.
Ron.
I'm grateful.
Go ahead, Jeff.
I think Ron had second thoughts. Yeah, I think Ron had second thoughts about having his doppelganger character date Mayday, and that's why that never. I believe that's the case.
I mean, you know
by
what?
the way,
He's apparently not listening. Of all episodes, he's not listening as we're recording.
Yeah, this is one of the rare
I'm very
times.
shocked.
Because I actually bought something. I bought something to show Ron. And
Okay,
it's sitting right here.
so, well, let's show
and
it.
I'm just waiting for Ron
let's show it. I've learned if you say his what was it? What's the running joke on the crawl space? If we say his name 3 times, he might show up. Bagman.
The Bagman.
The Bagman. It was a Walgreens exclusive.
Yes, which half of Pops are Walgreens exclusive.
Okay, look. You know what wasn't a Walgreens exclusive, and it honestly should have been, because she's amazing. God damn it! I'm gonna knock everything else down. But hi, here's April.
April.
Oh, that's awesome.
How April has a pop before May?
April get in
know.
before? Yeah, I know.
Symbiotes.
Yeah, anyway,
how does
It's
that
all
work?
because Matt, you understand this. It's all about the symbiotes.
Symbiotes are cool. Oh my gosh, that just reminded me that I wrote a really terrible,
That comment.
totally culturally inappropriate symbiote, like rap song on the Spider-Man message board back in the day, and that's what it was called.
Wait.
So,
Do you need music
let's
for
not bring
that?
that up.
Should we start? No. Like, should we get some
I don't
music for
remember
that?
it.
Can we get
I
a
don't
like
remember
a
it.
Oh yeah,
singer for that?
It's lost to the ether. I think is what Matt's trying to
I
say.
remember the title,
Um,
and I'd actually completely forgotten about that until Zach said it. So I blame you.
It's all my bad. I have a tendency to bring up unpleasant memories
unpleasant things. Yes.
of message board past. Just
Okay,
call me
you know what though? No. You know what though? Like this is the night of the message board. So let's celebrate it, good, bad, and ugly.
Yeah. So speaking of that message board, I'll bring it back up again for those that maybe haven't gone through and perused. This was a lot of the graphics were done by
Oh God, Last Hero Standing, guys.
yes, the week.
Wait.
was me.
How do
I
you
did
feel
that.
about not only
I did
Last
that.
Hero Standing, but also Last Planet Standing?
Yeah, what do you guys think of those?
Yeah.
I like Last Hero Standing a lot.
I enjoyed everything that they were involved in.
Yeah.
It's
So
good to see the whole universe together.
yeah, all right.
Yeah.
So one of the main
Yeah.
questions that I actually got from fans was about the kind of how you guys felt about Slot
Uh-oh.
bringing May back in Spider-Verse, how you felt about Spider-Geddon, and how you would feel if someone decided to bring May back. It's a
never
weird,
happened.
like,
I
believe me,
didn't read any
it's
of
a
that.
weird question with Tom and like to me, it's a weird question to even ask Tom and Ron. So I feel even weirder asking it to you guys. But it might be an interesting topic. So here you go.
Yeah. So we'll just go around the horn. How about we start with Jeff?
Yeah.
And just kind of go there and.
Okay. I didn't read any of it. I skimmed through it. I had an idea what was going on. I could see I didn't like it.
Yeah. Legit.
Like the first thing he did is kill Peter Parker. It's like, and that was one of the essence of Spider-Girl is she had Peter and Mary Jane as her parents.
Oh yeah. So
like the
you
two- one of the
didn't
things
buy
I
a
always-
giant bottle of wine from the gas station across the street from your apartment complex when you read it, like I did.
No, because I just. But this is like one of the things, like one of the reasons that people say, "Why do you like Spider-Girl so much? Why are you fighting?" It's like, because I always related to Peter Parker, and I think that was kind of one of the idea of Peter Parker was that so many people would relate to him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, as Peter Parker, Spider-Man's an old friend, and I'm just like looking out for his daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're like an uncle. You get that
Right.
feeling of like, as the older I've gotten, the more I've felt like that he's like that. You're like kind of the uncle.
And I wrote to Stan Lee. Did I ever tell you that?
Oh, you haven't told the Stan Lee story yet.
I don't.
No, let's talk about
that's a
Stanley
different.
here.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay,
No,
this part, and then
let's
I'll go on the
talk about
Stan Lee
it.
story.
Yes.
But one of the things I did when the very first graphic novel came out, not the digest, but the full size, I think.
Okay. One second. You talk. I'm gonna grab it.
Okay.
Okay. So I did like one of those internet search things to find Stan Lee's address, and I sent that. So I got his address, and I sent that book to Stan Lee, and saying, "I know it's kind of silly that I'm sending you this book, but I don't know if you're familiar with Spider-Girl, but it's a character I really love and a lot of fans love, and it'd be nice if you could put in a good word for her. And I promise I will never use your address again, and I won't share it with anyone." And I got a letter back from him on the Spider-Man.
It was this one, right?
Just a
Let's
second.
see.
Let me. Bam. That
It
one.
was this one, right?
That's the one. That's the one. So I sent that book to Stan Lee.
Yeah.
And I got a letter back from him. So I got Stan Lee's autograph out of it. That was great.
Aw.
And he said, I can't really do anything official, but Stanley, but that's one of the things I said. You're technically Spider-Girl's grandfather, so I think you might want to help.
Okay.
But he said something like, he said, I can't do anything official, but Tom DeFalco is an old friend of mine, so I'm going to see what I can do behind the scenes. So that was.
Aww.
So I don't know if that really helped at all, but I did make Stanley aware of Spider-Girl.
I got a quick aside. I remember when our pal Sal interview with Crawl Space happened, and they brought in Stan. This was like Stan that was not, corporatized Stan, as I like affectionately call him.
Oh God, no! That was the last time that I at least know of that he was like. It felt like he was him.
He was just jovial, and he's like, "How the hell are you?" I'm talking to Tom DeFalco over here. Because they were, and he roasted Sal. I mean, was roasting. It was one of the. I mean, everybody that listened to that episode was just rolling.
So the thing is that like the stories that I will hear from that first My Pal Sal interview are very similar to stories I hear from the last time he was at Dragon Con. And it created this like thing of like legitimately had he stayed alive as long, had stayed alive a little bit longer, Dragon Con was willing to just like hand him a ticket and like what he needed to just be at Dragon Con and just enjoy himself for his like 99th year or something.
Yeah.
Just because they enjoyed him just being there. Like they had gotten actresses to be Gwen Stacy and Mary Jane. I'll be honest, a lot of fans of those characters were really mad because the people that won them were legitimately not necessarily known for being fans. I'm not going to say that they weren't or were not, because I do know one of them who does actually know the character pretty well. She just isn't known for that. But they legitimately were just going to be like, okay, so next time he comes, we're just going to let him hang out and we're not going to care.
Let him be Stan.
And let him be Stan. Yeah.
Yeah. Because like you would see that, like I went to San Diego Comic-Con in 2011, and they brought him in on the Edge of Time panel. Why? Because reasons. I mean,
does he stand? Yeah, no, like it doesn't matter. Whatever.
The man had more energy as an 86, 87-year-old man than any reasonable human being should ever have. And you felt that energy even until like the last year and a half. You knew that like anytime you saw him, he was always on. But with that Sal interview, it was like he's talking with the boys. Yeah. It's like like that like this is how he was in the bullpen type thing, and it was kind of fun to see. We kind of got way off on a tangent.
Hey, no, look, this is the part of the kind of roundhouse discussion I was talking about is that I want us to just be able to talk as fans. So whether we wind up on Stan Lee tangents or we talk about the character and we talk about the storylines, that's okay. Like I want to make sure that we're all clear on this is just us having fun.
Absolutely. So
we're all good, okay?
All right. So I caught my train of thought. I went and fished it out.
Good. Fish it out.
John Jarker. I won't be able to say the name.
Oh my god.
You just said it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So I said it right. Okay, cool. I thought I butchered it. Okay. Anyway, what did you see the Slott Spider-Verse stuff? And what were your thoughts?
You don't have to talk about it if it's too painful.
No, it's not that. I actually saw a little bit of it. I did not really read all the issues. I did check up on the internet, seeing, this is my favorite character. And this is something that frustrates me when some other people talk about, developing the intellectual property of Spider-Girl, taking it as an intellectual property, as a concept. To me, Spider-Girl is not a concept. She is a character. She is a living, breathing
I
character.
think
She has a
Jeffers
personality.
has been an Instagram friend of mine long enough to know
Yeah.
exactly where I feel on this.
Yeah, and you just
Mhm.
it is just very alien to me to
Yeah.
see another character, another writer take this character and just make this character serve his story. This is a protagonist, the hero of her own story, and you are making her just to be a little puppet and to tell your story about mass spider side throughout the universe.
Again,
It's like, oh my goodness.
Again. I just have to state that at least me, a fan that came from, I started the series almost right at the beginning. I was 8 years old until I was 20 years old. So like literally the series ended just before I turned 21. That when Slott did Spider-Verse, I had just finished college, just moved up here. I got that issue with what happened, and I distinctly remember walking across the street to the gas station, which was also a bottle shop, and finding the finest bottle of rosé because I am a millennial, and downing that shit in a playground. So
I know her father
Hi.
was so important to the character, and they killed the father.
Right, exactly.
well,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
the issue is that they killed the issue is they killed him in a lightning quick way that did not make sense to the world or to the character, or that gave respect towards any of that.
Well, and then years later they came out and did the follow-up.
The other speaking of that, that's one of the major things when I was asking for questions for you guys, was how did you feel about Peter of 982 being quote unquote the other, and what you would like to see after that, which I don't think you guys really ever thought about that, because I know for a fact that the own creators didn't.
That's what happened. Wait, what?
I had to tell them that.
Basically,
I feel very freaking awkward. I'm sorry. I almost had to be censored. I'm sorry, guys. Anyway.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Jeff.
Y'all go. Sorry, guys. Censor me.
Okay. I stopped reading Spider-Man when Straczynski wrote the story where Gwen Stacy seduced Norman Osborn, and that was the end of me reading Spider-Man.
Since past.
I plan to come back. I plan to come back once he was off the book, but then when he was off the book, they started. That was one more day. That was the end of the marriage. I was like, I just, you know what? They don't want me as a reader anymore, so I'm not going to read anymore. And it actually goes to Tom. I remember Tom telling me this at a convention. Said you should like what you read and read what you like. And then I think I don't like this anymore, and it hurts me that I don't like Spider-Man anymore, the comic books. But yeah, I haven't read Spider-Man since then.
I will say this, Jeff. The current Nick Spencer run, I feel, is sort of the apology for the last 10 years of Spider-Man.
I did read his first issue.
There's a giant fan. Sorry, there's a giant fan thing about not liking it right now.
I know, which I don't understand. But they started with Volume 5. It's been a very, very solid run. It's tried to address a lot of the issues, and there's a lot of some of the plot threads of like One More Day. It looks like that they're finally going to tackle instead of ignoring it like they did for 10 years. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But Venom, aka Matt, what did you think of the Slott stuff? What was your thoughts about it? What was your feelings?
Well, I can sum it up pretty quickly in that I remember less of it than I remember. I guess I've forgotten more of it than I remember, because for me, Spider-Girl was always Tom and Ron and Pat. And while I'm happy to see the character continue in one way or another, if they weren't involved, I kind of wasn't either. I don't think I ever fully read it. I think I skimmed through like the news of it, of what was going on.
Yeah.
I kind of stay true to my word. I said many times on the Spider-Girl board, and even to some of the creators in private, that when that book ended, I was pretty much done with Marvel. And for the most part, I pretty much stayed true to that. I think I hung on to Spidey for a little while, but I was gone long before that. And like I said, Tom and Ron and or Pat, there's some of the originals weren't involved. You know, headcanon, it doesn't count to me. It didn't happen.
Yeah,
That's how I
look,
feel.
there's a lot of people that I remember seeing on the message board saying that, look, for them, Spider-Girl was the continuation of the 616, that the 616 ended with Volume 1 of Amazing Spider-Man, and that Spider-Girl basically was the continuation of it. And then, of course, when that was taken away from... And you guys kind of mentioned it, Matt, you said it too. Can we... I kind of did this in our episode 0, but people always kind of gave Joe Quesada a lot of grief.
Please, let's actually talk about that because
to me, he was such a champion, and I know you guys, you know, especially Matt, what you were saying with your interactions with them. So, if you could shed some light on that too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna full screen it, so you get the.
I probably gave him. Oh God. Okay.
No, you're fine, Matt. You're good. You look awesome.
I probably gave him a decent amount of grief myself, to be completely honest with you. But Tom was one that he often said, "Look, if you don't think he's a fan, you don't know what he does behind the scenes." And Quesada did. I think he did champion the book because, and maybe I didn't feel this way. Hindsight, 2020. Looking back at it now, I have to say that I don't think the book would have been saved as often as it was if he wasn't at least impressed from before by the fans. And whether he was a fan of the book or not, frankly, he never had to save that book. That it could have been canceled the first time over with. So, you know, people do give him a lot of grief. I'm personally not like the biggest Quesada fan, but he was always nice to me. The fact that he even took the time to respond to emails from a random fan who, at the time lived there. I think that was a lot about his character. So yeah, I'll step into the defend Joe Quesada line. I think the book didn't need to continue, and he can.
John?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'll let John jump in, and then Jeff, as soon as John's ready or done, then you can jump in.
What's the question?
Joe Quesada.
Yes.
You know, what was your feelings with him? We kind of talked about this in the episode 0, but he was such a champion of the book.
Yes.
You know, did you feel that when you guys were, especially with the Save Spider-Girl campaign and stuff?
You know, I did not know what was going on in the background. I did not know personally, you know, Joe Quesada's feelings towards the book. I was told that he was a fan, but then on the other side, as a fan, I was seeing all this stuff that was happening, and I have to apologize to both Matt and Jeffers and everybody who knew the real truth of the matter. But towards the end, I actually tried to start a campaign to get Joe Quesada fired.
Okay, so.
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
You're the reason when I post a Spider-Girl photo on Instagram, I get at least 2 or 3 people that tell me how Joe Quesada needs to die.
Yeah. It's not necessarily his fault. Let's be clear.
No, it's not his fault. He started it. That's, All right.
I started a letter writing campaign to every executive at Marvel, every stockholder. Joe Quesada is the devil.
Oh,
he hates Spider-Girl.
Okay. Saying the devil literally means you are definitely no. If you said that at any point in time, you were definitely the reason. Those people that tell me how Joe Quesada needs to die and that quote unquote Marvel needs to have its own Ragnarok.
Yeah, that's something.
Zach
something
can
that
attest. That happens to my cosplays.
No.
And quite rightly, in the past, both Jeffers and Venom have had to rein in my enthusiasm somewhat. There have been occasions. I'll have to put that out, and for which I thank them for that, because
No,
I could have been very exuberant.
Hey, listen. At least you didn't use the phrase.
We
Joe
got reined in a
Fisto.
couple times too.
I used the phrase Joe Fisto in an interview with Stephen Wacker
What?
on the crawl space. Yeah, because I was asking about okay from y'all's
Zach.
perspective. No, but I was talking about like what the message boards like the names, and I distinctly remember listening to the playback. And Steve just kind of chuckled at Joe Fisto, like, because I remember that was like a rallying cry, especially on the Spider-Man message board, and it was like, oh yeah, but like, no, trust me, that's one of like when I talk about things that I cringe about when I listen to like old episodes that I've done because I've been podcasting since 2006. You're going, oh no, why did you do that, you 19-year-old fool? So yeah, no, but like I say, I did a whole bit on our old Mayday show that we used to have here on the network, and it was very that was a very difficult as a regular reader, and we kind of were like, do we cover it, do we not, and there was a very big struggle.
Well, even if honestly, to me personally, I don't feel like you guys covered it completely as a fan, just because it was too raw, it was too soon. Hopefully, with Make My Mayday, we can cover it appropriately, even though I will admit, even now, it is hard. Just because it's not right, and it's even funny because even in Spider-Geddon, if you guys do not read Spider-Geddon, it ends with 982 Peter's hand coming out Buffy style out of his grave.
Like this is the third time he's come out of the
and
grave.
it's very awkward because it's kind of like on one hand you're like, oh okay, that was the wrong episode of Buffy I was going for, and then on the second hand,
it was allegedly supposed to be.
Did he get his leg back? Because otherwise, how did he actually climb himself out of his grave? I'm very lost.
There was questions
it's very awkward.
Yeah, because like historically, the other, you got to, your body was reborn, and so it was one of those things that it felt very, very tacked on to the end of that event. It literally was like a single panel where it said 982, and then you see, here lies Peter Parker, and then the fist coming out of the grave.
In fairness, what I give it is that just before this all happens in the end of Spider-Girls,
yeah,
Annie admits to, oh hey, my mom actually had a miscarriage before me, and she had named the baby Annie, or she named the baby May, and
God.
You essentially are my sister, and I love you. And of course, May, who has literally gone through freaking hell the last few years, is crying and going, okay, yeah, sure, this works. I'm down for this. Anything that's not crazy, yay. And so, they cry, they hug it out, and they do their Spider-Verse stuff, and then the other happens. But the thing is if you realize that, oh hey, Annie, as in quote-unquote anime, because that's her name, thanks a lot, Annie is the Dream Weaver, which means she weaves the worlds together. You're giving a 16-year-old the ability to weave a world. Why wouldn't she weave her otherworld sister, her dad, back?
It's just so really awkward, and the way, unfortunately, basically that's the
way it ends though. Is essentially it's Annie May is giving May her dad back because Annie May controls the world. Thank you, bye bye.
Yeah,
and it's very awkward.
Like an episode of the Twilight Zone.
Yeah. If Kanal wants my mask, I can go grab it real fast. It's next to me.
Yeah, Yeah, show us the Spider Girl
All right,
mask. It's
You guys
right-
talk. I'll go grab it.
Yeah,
I'll be right back.
Okay.
she's got legendary cosplay, so
Yeah.
I'll kind of take the lead here for a second. So, you guys, when Spider Girl ended, kind of getting the consensus here that you guys kind of dropped comics altogether, and is that the case? Are you watching the films?
I dropped Marvel comics mostly. I started when they started printing Star Wars comics again. I got interested. I read those, but no, I haven't really read a Marvel comic since Spider Girl ended. Yeah, I was pretty depressed when it ended.
Me, and especially the way it ended. It was one of those things. They announced this new ongoing, and then when it comes to publication,
and then they
it's
canceled
suddenly
it before it even appeared.
Yeah, like it's 104, and you're like, wait, what? This was not, and then like they kind of were really kind of devious that they changed the solicitations, and you had to go to Google Cache to look at the original solicitation.
Yeah.
It was like, really? Come on, guys.
I don't think I even looked at them.
No.
I don't think I even saw them.
Yeah.
No,
So that's her.
I mean, I still read comics now, but Marvel not so much. I mean, I kind of just recently caught up on the new Venom series because they finally gave symbiote back to Eddie, and that made me happy. But and I enjoyed it. But God, I haven't read a Spider-Man comic in forever. I'm rereading. They've been releasing the omnibus books of the Clone Saga, and it's so flippin' long that it's 4 omnibus books. And I'm
the trades. There's 12.
I'm reading through that again, and so yeah, I'm reading comics. I'm just reading the old comics.
Oh yeah, no,
That makes sense. Yeah, no. When I started.
Well, I mean,
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
When I discovered the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon, which we talked about before we went on the air, I went back and reread the first 20 issues of the Stan and Steve stuff.
That's awesome.
And it was, kind of amazing how they updated that and stayed true to the original stories.
All right, Jerker.
Well, everybody wants to talk about the mask, so I'll make mine quick.
I think okay.
Okay.
I don't know how long this is gonna last because there is a giant plastic face in between me and my microphone right now. So.
That is so awesome. Thank you. Awesome job. Anyway,
that was
Thank
really
you. I did my best to make this as accurate as possible.
It looks a lot.
It looks
like
great. I love the big eyes. I love the big eyes.
Yeah, that is awesome. Good job. Okay, quick story.
Anyway,
All right.
y'all go.
Hey, quick story. Okay, anyway, after Spider-Girl, I read some DC titles. I was a big fan of Batgirl, Birds of Prey for a little while. And that kind of came to a sudden stop. A couple of years ago, we had this hurricane called Hurricane Michael come through Panama City. It was like about a hurricane, Category 5. And it kind of destroyed my local comic book store. So they rebuilt it, but I said, nah, I'm calling it quits. I'm just reading it in the hopes that they'll bring back Spider-Girl at some point. Plus the stuff that I'm reading right now, it just seems to be, it's not as well crafted story-wise, character-driven. It seemed like they were just inserting ideas and messages randomly, and it just did not appeal to me.
What drives me nuts about
my brain.
Go ahead, Jeff.
But is they seem to have lost the art of how to tell stories with artwork. It's just like one of the Star Wars comics I mentioned, reading through, and all of a sudden I'm like, and they start talking about something. Hey, and then this happened. I'm like, when did that happen? And I go back, and I find that 3 pages before, way in the background, a small tiny thing turned out to be a significant story point. It's like, how is anyone going to notice that? Because there's, you know what, it's not highlighted in any way. And this is, I've come across this a number of times. It's just like that. There's the whole idea of sequential art is the sequential part seems to be going bye-bye.
I will tell you this. I believe that there's a disconnect between how they draw on a page versus how they're drawing for a screen. Because you got so many people. You got so many people that are reading comics now, that are reading comics now on a screen.
That makes sense to me.
And they've got that guided view, and it's kind of awkward when you read like comics like Spider-Girl sometimes, because the UI will be like, oh, that's kind of weird, even though like towards later on Spider-Girl became the first digital comic, you know, that was a digital first comic before it got printed off in the anthology books. So
I mean, I have an argument about that. Am I too muffled for me to?
So it's because
we can hear you.
Okay. I would argue the digital comic part legitimately happened because of the Disney merger. But honestly, no.
Let's be fair here. I'm muffled as heck. But like it legitimately happened due to the Disney merger, and due to the fact that there were fans that were loud and were boisterous, and Disney saw that during the merger and was like, hey, you at least have to do something versus nothing, because that is the Disney way, is you at least sort of answer your fans and then do whatever the heck you want to do. And that's kind of the first inclination that, oh hey, Disney has a lot to do with Marvel want to do. Then we thought came actually from the Marvel Unlimited and Spectacular Spider-Girl, because that was the only series that was digital only for what, 6 months before they realized that didn't work.
Yeah, Matt, what you got something to say?
Well, I was just gonna say I could as far as comics and changing, I could go on a long rant, and I have many times in the last 10 years.
Go, do it.
Discuss.
We are here for rants.
I'll do the brief. We'll do the cliff notes, but I think for me personally, the change in what I guess I would call modern comics and what I would consider classic comics happened probably in the early 2000s, where it became very cinematic and not comic book like.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And I think that story structure and the way that the comics were laid out became very, like I said, for lack of a better term, cinematic. And it was like reading a television episode or reading a movie. And that's all well and good, but what the fault that I find with that is that comics are a medium unto themselves. There's nothing really like them. And in doing that, you kind of take away what can make a comic unique from a television show, from a movie. And one of the things I loved about Spider-Girl so much was that while this was happening, Tom and Ron and co were continuing the Merry Marvel manner of classic comic book storytelling. And that was what I grew up with. That was what I loved. And when that went away, I don't know, like I didn't have a lot of interest in the cinematic storytelling. If I want to watch cinematic storytelling, I'm a huge movie buff. I got a 70-inch 4K TV, 4K player. I've got probably 80 4K movies. I am a media nut. I love movies. I love series, but that's how I want to digest those things. I've got the Spider-Man movies when I want to be cinematic. When I'm reading the comic, I want it to be a comic. One thing I lament the loss of, and even a lot of comic book creators would disagree with me on this, I love thought balloons, man. You don't have those anymore. You get them in captions a little bit, but I always felt like that allowed me to get into the head of the character in a way that a caption never would. And it actually changed the way that I read some of those characters, because Spider-Man, for example, would crack wise and quip and do all of these things in his fights. But you knew that in his head, he was only doing that as like overcompensating because he was so nervous or scared, or he didn't feel like he could do it. And when you take that perspective away, and I find this to be a lot of, and when I say modern, I mean literally the last 20 years of Spider-Man comics, when he's quipping and cracking wise, he just comes off as kind of a jerk, you know, like you don't get that subtext anymore. And like Jeffers had mentioned, visually, it's very easy to miss points now because something might make, but unless you flip back and catch it with your eyes, you may just completely miss it. And in an older style book, that just wouldn't happen. And I really lament the loss of that classic comic book storytelling. And when it comes to being in Spider-Girl and why I love Spider-Girl so much, it was that it continued that tradition. And I guess, if any reason why I don't read modern comics, that's why. So, tangent, but...
No, Jeff, your thoughts, and then I'll jump over to John.
I want to pick up on that because I always thought that the best two eras of Spider-Man were the 60s and the 80s. And Spider-Girl, to me, was the perfect combination of 60s and 80s Spider-Man. And Spider-Girl was a comic book. It was an honest-to-God comic book. It wasn't trying to be anything else. And I think one of the things that probably worked against it is that Spider-Girl was a mass-market comic book as the comics industry became more of a direct-market industry. Because if the spinner racks were still there, Spider-Girl would have been huge.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I agree to a certain extent as a kid that was picking up those comics, in the fact that, like, when I was trying to share it with friends that would have probably picked it up if it had been a spinner rack, they really weren't interested. Okay. They didn't really care. Now, of course, I can also remember, at least, like, I was at the beach with, like, my friend Brooke or my friend Alex, and I'm trying to show them the character, and I'm focused on, like, yeah, Peter doesn't have a leg. You know, like, my grandfather doesn't have a leg, or this, or that. Things that probably were more to the comic than should have been. But it was very hard as a child to explain that to a friend. And I feel like that would have been hard to explain on a spinner rack, if that makes sense. There was a lot of levels towards Spider-Girl after the first issue, like after 105, after issue 0, that took a lot of explanation and storytelling. Because there were so many layers to the world. Yeah.
Yeah. Very old school.
And that was maybe, like maybe a bit of a detriment as far as getting new readers, but I think at the same time, I mean, that's what people loved about it.
Oh, no, exactly. Like, there was no like, oh, I guess you don't understand it. I was like, how do you not understand it? Look, he has no leg. Like, I distinctly remember that being like maybe 11, because it was like right after they had done the Target, where they had like pressed about 3 or 4 issues into one magazine for just Target.
Yeah.
I wound up convincing my mom to get me both issues. I went to a friend's like beach vacation with them, and I distinctly remember going, wait, what do you mean you don't understand? Like, he just has no leg. Look, he has no leg. You see how he has no leg? He has no leg. And I was like even now at like, it'll sometimes hit me at 30, and I'm like, you legitimately were 13 years old, like, caravanning how Spider-Girl was awesome because Pete had no leg.
Hey.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, it's fine. I've already mentioned about how I use Joe Fisto with Stephen Wacker.
Yeah,
John,
no, I'm sorry, guys. Like, that's just
no, it's fine.
welcome to like teenage Kelly life. Like it's pin 12, but like 10 times
But
worse.
the thing is, and John, you can kind of dovetail maybe off this too. She was the type of person you guys were trying to attract. You were trying to get the book in the hands of.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We didn't have to because I wound up with it way too
Yeah,
damn
'cause you already
young.
had
I was the baby that you guys were not aware of, even though I was trying my best to be as loud as you guys. I just didn't know any better.
Well, and again, go ahead, John. I was gonna pull up the media blitz aspect too.
Yes, please do.
I mean,
yeah. At the time, a lot of comic books seem to be generated towards the aging fan base, not necessarily the next generation. And
Right.
I remember talking to parents at the time, in the early 2000s, said, "Hey, give Spider-Girl a try. It's a great book," and they would always come back. Is this book appropriate for my child? And I would have to convince them, "Hey, look, just read it for yourself. Judge it for yourself before giving it to your child." And it just makes me wonder, if to go off on another tangent, what is the future of comic books? Because it seems like it's being produced for a smaller market, for a market that's aging, and we have the children who back then, and oh my God, I love you, Cal. As a kid, you're a kid. You were the people we were looking for, but the kids now, oh my goodness, there's so many other options out there. We've got.
But at the same time, I will put it this way: there are kids, like as Zach's pulling the digest up. I've met a ton of cosplayers who legitimately are like, yeah, I actually remember the digest from the Scholastic Book Fair. I thought I dreamed Mayday up. I didn't think she was real. And
The digest.
And now there's a lot of kids that are used to finding the digest, finding these graphic novels in secondhand stores, and they think that she's all theirs.
Yeah.
For better or for worse, because I will be honest, unfortunately, some of the roleplay accounts have somehow snuck their way into some wiki pages, and I'm not okay with that. But it's awkward. It's a weird thing where me and Zach have discussed this because we have 5-year-olds in our lives that are obsessed with Spider-Girl in their own way, thanks to us. But the internet is also very active when it comes to Mayday. In a very weird way.
But I was going to point out, you asked that question. I feel like that things like these collections, and yes, the digests were a huge part of keeping Spider-Girl alive, but
Digests were huge.
and the whole story of getting Scholastic to jump on board, I kind of also throw that to Joe Quesada. But now there's a whole generation of people that are picking up these complete collections. There's 2 that have been produced. There would have been a 3rd, but thank you COVID-19 for.
Okay. In fairness, it still has a release date of March 2021. So let's.
So knocking on wood.
Pretend that still exists. Yeah.
We're crossing our fingers and our toes that we'll find out in December when the solicitations do come out. But at least the first two volumes are out. It's covered 32 issues of Spider-Girl. Almost 34 issues of Spider-Girl, because they have like the what if and the annual as well. So I know that, and I kind of feel like these are sort of part of you guys' legacy with Save Spider-Girl. I don't think these would have ever existed had you guys not pushed so hard and done so much for this character. And we got 91 people watching right now, which is awesome.
Oh my God! Thank you guys. Holy crap!
So it
is all thanks to you guys, by the way. It really is
100%. So hopefully, people that are watching right now, go back to the beginning of this live stream and watch the whole thing and hear about these guys' story, because these guys are the reason that Spider-Girl lasted more than 60 issues to 100 issues.
Y'all saved. I mean, seriously, you saved Spider-Girl. You basically are the reason why she lasted from the time I was 8 to the time I was 20.
So
and that's
I will tell you.
insane. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm sorry to make you feel old for that, but that was that's the majority of my teenage life. So thank you.
Absolutely. So I was going to kind of let everybody get one last word in, because we've been going for an hour and 45 minutes, which I think has been an awesome discussion.
Yes.
And you guys are welcome to come back anytime.
Of course. And also to the 91 people watching. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Please leave some questions down for these guys. I know you guys want to ask them something. So, oh my God, like, come ask some questions as we are wrapping this up. So, is there anything you guys want to ask us too?
Yeah.
Actually, I do have a Ron Friends story I would like to share that I want to give to all of you. Okay. I was at a comic book convention with Ron and the whole gang. I did not drive my car there. I had to take Greyhound up there. So I'm there without a vehicle.
I was there.
And yeah, that's right. I remember you. Anyway,
I was there.
and Tom and Ron and Sal all took me, and I think Jeffers was there too, to dinner.
Oh my God.
And of course, I double dipped on the chips, and Tom called me out on it. But anyway, I had no way to get home except for a taxi, and Ron said, "Hey, don't worry about it." And so I jumped into Ron's SUV. By the way, Ron is a big fan of 80s music. All right. And
my guy, like
my man.
My dad is an 80s DJ.
Yeah. So anyway, we're driving home. It's dark, and like two bros, we just start talking, and I know he's an artist. I said, "Hey, Ron, just between you and me, man, could you draw me a page? I don't care. It could be on any topic whatsoever." And he said, "Sure, man. I'll draw you a page, and just pay my guy some money, send it to you." And so after I got back home several weeks later, some backstory on this before I show this to you.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the military, Naval Reserve, and shout out to my former commanding officer, Vincent Constantini. He asked all of us to design a logo for the unit.
I already know
It is military tradition to steal the intellectual property of Disney and use it in your military logo.
Fair. That's fair. Yeah.
I used it. I used a duck from Darkwing Duck. I think it was like Glitch.
Okay.
Or something like that.
All right. Good. All right.
Here it is.
Not Marvel.
Here's
all right.
the picture. This is what Ron Friend sent me.
Wow.
My hero. This is what he wrote down here. Can you read that?
I cannot. What
does
please
it say?
read it. Yeah.
John, in the minefield of life, loyalty is an amazingly beautiful thing. Thanks, Ron Friends.
Aww.
Oh.
I give this to all of you fans out there.
Oh. Yeah. Let me tell you.
Sharing this.
That's awesome.
Sharing this.
That is so epically awesome.
I was gonna say, how do you follow that?
Yeah.
He just did a
live
mic
your
drop.
life. That's how you follow it.
All right, Matt, we'll jump to you, and then we started with Jeff, we'll go to Jeff for final thoughts. 137 people. Wow. Whoa,
oh
crap.
my God! What the heck?
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a very off-air raise in my voice. I apologize, guys.
Go ahead, Matt.
Please, Matt.
Sorry. I wanted to thank you guys. I mean, I guess for the recognition, it's a recognition that I don't necessarily give myself. I feel like I was a part of a very, very large group of people who allowed this to happen and helped it happen. I'm thankful for you including me. And I mean, really, when it comes down to it, it just was we were fighting for something that we loved, and you know, it was a different. It was a little bit different in that you know, a lot of fans, especially where you complain and complain, but
keep
there's
going,
not a lot
Matt.
of
You're
action.
Our buddy Vinkman just broke.
Well,
John.
and we,
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
No,
I'm sorry.
No, you're
No.
good. You're good.
But you know, the difference with the Spider Girl group is that it wasn't just words; there was action behind it, and without the help of everybody involved, the many people, it wouldn't have happened. So I greatly appreciate you including me in that group.
Are
Well-
you kidding? Like, I'll be honest. Even right now in the current Reddit group, in the current, as we were joking about the meme group off Reddit, the hashtags on Twitter and Instagram and anything else, like, the one thing that is so key about the fandom now is exactly what you said, what was going on then. And I think it has everything to do with the example you guys set, which is you follow by example. There is nothing on those hashtags that is wishy-washy or just for show. Everything that is on there is leading by example. When it comes to a photo from me or a photo from a girl in Italy or Spain or Canada, these cosplayers are there to set the example that the character set. The Reddit pages are there to discuss the stories that were made in the comics and how they were intentionally done. There is no really room for discussion or room for debate. Everyone's pretty clear on what it meant and what it means. It's all just about how you live your life with that story and with that moral. And it's something that is very rare, I think, in today's comics, but was very precedented and normal when we read it. And it's interesting to see the newer fans come into it and go, hey, I can live my life through these stories. Was there anyone else? And then they kind of start to find y'all's message boards, or they start to find the new Reddit and try to connect through that. And I don't know, it's to me, it's always interesting to see how, like, you guys kind of feel like y'all weren't necessarily a part of something super big, but then I guess me kind of in the middle, or me being that weirdo that's still here. I'm seeing a lot of young people leading by y'all's example, and it's fun to see, I guess. So it's,
absolutely, and
you guys are awesome.
I'll say this, and Jeff, I'll let you have the final word. What she's saying is you guys were the foundation of this fandom,
Yes.
and you guys definitely should stand tall and be proud of everything you guys accomplished with the Save Spider-Girl campaign.
Yeah.
And you guys are, and Jeff, I'll let you have any final thoughts, and then we'll kind of wrap the show up if that's okay with everybody, because we've been going almost 2 hours.
We have.
We'll
Oh my god.
So Jeff?
Okay. First of all, I want to thank Kelly, because when I started seeing your Instagram posts, I don't know, maybe about a year or so ago, and oh my God, someone's still dressing up as Spider-Girl and she looks really good. And I was happy to see that. I was happy to see that Spider-Girl was living on, because I love this character. She should be living on. She should be much better known than she is, etc., etc.
Oh my god.
So-
no, I mean, honestly.
So, no, I'm happy. Okay, you're thanking us for being there at the beginning. I'm thanking you for being here now. Because you're keeping
in
it going.
fairness, I was here in the beginning. I was just a wee baby Bab. And
Oh,
you guys
true.
were
Wee little
way-
lad. But no,
Okay,
gentlemen,
but
you are.
As I said before,
Yeah,
I
are
don't
you
look
kidding me?
anywhere near as good as the costume review would. So,
Thank you.
but I think I knew at the time. I felt we were part of something. It felt special. It felt exciting, and there was, wasn't just the three of us. There was more, a lot more,
Absolutely
working together, and it just. We just kept going. It's like, okay, now what do we do? Now what do we do? Let's print up our own flyers and send them to comic book shops because Lord knows Marvel won't do it. Let's try to get articles placed in newspapers
I
because
remember
Lord
that
knows Marvel
post
won't
because
do it.
that's that post of like, hey, let's print out our own flyers is the reason why I drew my own flyers in the back of a beeper shop.
Thank you. Thank you.
So
Yeah,
absolutely.
It became like the annual blood drive.
Yeah.
It did.
No, it
It
did.
did.
And I convinced
And-
Comics Castle the last year that they were open to at least put my crudely drawn flyers in their window for at least a week.
Listen,
I would
never-
think I was 12.
you never know who you could have impacted.
And
I'm going to. I'm in the.
Sorry,
in the
guys.
post-
I do have to say that because like we've made this joke. I think I've made this joke on Crawl Space. I've made this joke here for a little bit that like I drew these things in the back of a beeper shop in the early 2000s.
There you go. So I'm going to post screenshots and stuff of everything. I'm of like the Save Spider Girl.
Yeah, and we haven't finished everybody's discussion, by the way. So.
Yes. Oh, who did I miss? Oh, you, of course.
Everybody.
Well,
We've only talked to Jeffers. We haven't talked to Joker or Matt / Venom.
Okay, so yeah, I'll let you guys kind of
Let's go.
wrap it up, and then we'll kind of come on out of here and go
Yes.
from there. Start with John, and then do Matt, and we'll go from there.
Yep.
I'm speechless. Oh my goodness, I am so speechless. This is incredible. I'd like to echo what Jeffers said. I mean, yeah, we kept her alive in the past, but she is alive right now because of you people, because of what we're doing, what everybody is doing, and maybe she'll live once again in publication. We're hopefully under more respectful hands, perhaps.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Look, 2020 has taught us that we never say never on anything. So
Also, it's also never say never, and also never expect the Spanish Inquisition. So
Monty Python.
never good and bad things can happen in 2020.
absolutely.
So never say never.
Well, you'll never achieve the incredible unless you dare the impossible.
That's very well put.
Yeah.
Matt?
Well, I mean, again, thank you guys. To reiterate what they said, no, I mean, it was a special time, and especially looking back and remembering all those things, it's cool to go back and remember being a part of something. And Spider-Girl is a book that, in my opinion, it is old school, as I said it was previously. It's still, there's still a lot of life to that character, and I still, to this day, am waiting for my Spider-Girl animated series. With Batman Beyond as enduring as it is, why can we not get
God.
Spider-Girl animated too?
There you go. There you go.
I don't know who's
I
watching
wish.
this. Come on, man. It's been this long. Give me that, please.
All
Well,
right, Matt,
no, but
who,
thank
who
you
would
guys.
you who would you want to voice Spider-Girl? Who would you want to voice May?
Well, you.
Me.
Oh.
With my giant southern accent. All right. Thanks.
Hey,
Thank you.
hey, you,
Put a little Queens on it. You'll be fine.
there you go. There you go. Well, guys, we're gonna have to do this again. Absolutely.
Yes.
I
Oh
think
my
we
God.
have to do this again.
Yes.
Yeah,
My
love it.
giant plan for the series is to have at least a monthly or bi-monthly discussion with fans. So I definitely invite you guys back on. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts about certain issues and certain storylines of the series.
That would be
because
great. That'd be fun.
you guys are amazing. I love you guys.
know
I'm so
nothing.
excited that I got to talk to you and meet you. And oh my god,
This was kind of a
Hey, you want to know what? This is the first time I ever actually talked with Matt after 20 years. So I'm glad that I got to
This is
interact with Matt.
you
Yeah.
guys,
Isn't
you
that
guys,
nuts?
just talked, via text all this time. So we are bringing people together
to
here on
Miguel.
Spidey Radio.
Hey, that was the entire point of my fan panel discussion I had brought to you about Mayday was let's get the fans together, let's talk, and let's have fun and be a family. Because we are a family. So, hell yeah.
I think with that, Kelly, let's just kind of hype up what we got going on. We got SpideyDude.com. Be sure to go
Yeah.
there.
You want to hear about some Spencer stories? Me and some other members that are into the new comics. I know for a fact that me and Paul, he has not agreed to it, but I'm pretty sure we can get him to stronghold into us wearing unicorn onesies and fight about GOG.
Yeah, so that's something that's going to be happening very
Look,
soon.
I want this happening. Like, he has to put on that unicorn onesie. He has it. He owns it. We need to do this. Okay.
He's got an infant child. We talked about Spectacular Spider-Man. If you haven't listened to Spectacular Radio, it's our DVD style commentary show that we get with Greg Weisman every odd numbered episode. And he talks about the individual episodes. We talk with people that work on the show, voice cast like Vanessa Marshall and Jock Pete.
Also, clearly, at some point, you need to ask Greg Weisman why there is not a Spider-Girl series.
Let's just say in the next recording that's happening later this week.
Okay, good.
It's going to happen.
Wait, should I record myself asking this? To make this seem more special.
As much as I would love that, it would. Yeah, we're using Skype, and I don't want to break Skype any more than we already,
That is very fair.
But yes, we have Spectacular Radio. We'll have an episode of CSC coming soon. We are rebuilding the site. CSC is the last show to be rebuilt. You can always help us out, paypal.me/SpideyDude Network. Find us on Facebook at SpideyDude Network, at SpideyDude Radio on Twitter, Instagram at SpideyDude Network as well. And just look us up on YouTube, SpideyDude Radio Network. It's all there on our YouTube page. Guys and gal, with that,
you can find Make My Mayday on Twitter. By the way, it is my technical personal Twitter, but I am trying my best to be for the brand. And also, too, we do want to mention our friends at Dennis Ball.
Yes.
Because thanks to Bob and my Atlanta Ghostbuster friends, I was a guest on the Dennis Ball show on Friday, which is a tennis ball that gives you dad jokes. So
you got to check it out.
Check it out. It's a weird concept on YouTube, but at the same time, it's one of those weird concepts that actually kind of work. So he interviewed not only me, but also the Slimer from the actress that was Slimer on Ghostbusters 2, and a ton of other more amazing people than I am. So whoa. So definitely check that out if you want some dad jokes in your life.
Absolutely. So. And to answer Vinkman's question he asked on our YouTube page, yes, all of Spectacular Radio is up. All of the Mayday so far that we've done is up.
Everything is good. The episode pages are they back working? Because they were broken a few days ago. So, but we are fixing them.
They are in progress as of this recording. So. Hopefully by the time you hear it, it's still fixed. 181 people. Thank you. Like, share, subscribe to this channel, to this video. And guys, thank y'all again. You guys we want you back. Thank you for taking your time. 2 hours.
Thank you so much, guys.
2 hours between show prep and this interview.
And also too, we wouldn't have as many people watching if it wasn't for you guys.
Yeah.
I just want to say that. Thank
I
you.
Thank you guys, and you guys were an attraction. And
I hope we didn't let you down, man.
no, you guys,
Oh my goodness,
absolutely
no.
not. Absolutely
We
not.
could
So
we could go for a total other hour just shooting
shooting
stuff,
the breeze,
but
shooting the breeze. So, all right, guys. Well, we're gonna wrap the broadcast up there. We'll see you guys next time. And
yeah, next time, next fan panel.
absolutely.
Alrighty
Bye, guys.
then.